Hi, it's Katie Mackenzie, mortgage professional with TMG, the Mortgage Group, and your host of I Love Vancouver Real Estate. Thank you for taking the time to be with us today. You know, on our podcast, we discuss home ownership and have interviewed professionals in related industries, but we can't ignore that for some, home ownership is completely out of reach today due to a mountain of growing debt, or those with mortgages also seeing the same. It's why I've invited Jennifer Virani to the podcast today. She's a debt consolidation expert with 4 pillars and helps families get out of debt, rebuild their credit, and put difficult times behind them. Jennifer, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. You know, let's start by learning a bit more about who you are and how you came to do what you do.
Yeah, so I was working in the financial industry for 10 years, and I saw a lot of people withdrawing their investments and really struggling to meet their long-term financial goals due to their debt. I always wanted to help people, but I wasn't really sure what to do. So my brother-in-law knew that I was looking for something different and introduced me to 4 pillars. It made complete sense to me to be doing something where I was making a difference in people's lives.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was good.
I know for clients that I've worked with, one of the hardest steps is actually seeking help and acknowledging their mounting debt and that it's no longer manageable. So how does someone actually reach out to you and ask you how to help them?
Yeah, so that's a good question. Debt definitely carries a lot of shame and embarrassment. A lot of people don't seek help until they've tried on their own for 3 years to get out of debt. We have a great website where people can read articles to learn more about the process and ask a question. One of the consultants will get in touch with them that way. So the process is very easy for those finding it hard to make that first step. So 4 Pillars is an independent Canadian company, and we have a number of different strategies to help clients with their debt. We will first work with them to fully understand their financial situation and also understand their long-term financial goals. This plays a big part of creating the strategy to deal with debt. So for those who simply cannot ever pay the debt back, a carefully structured consumer proposal can be the most effective way to reduce the amount owed, find a new affordable payment plan, retain assets, and avoid bankruptcy. We also help clients with credit rebuilding and budgeting to truly help them with a fresh start. And we help all sorts of people with unsecured debts, even with personal taxes.
That's awesome, because those are all of the issues that we see as hot topics in our business that people have really struggled with and haven't been able to access help with. So, you know, again, back to how you help people in need, you know, in regards to the services that you provide, how does that differ from what somebody's home bank or bank branch can do?
Yeah, so our role is to solely represent the need of our clients, the debtors. So we're consultants, we're debt consultants. Dealing with debt is one of the biggest financial decisions we make as consumers. The debtor needs someone to help create a strategy that works for them and looking out for their best interests. So we offer clients a chance to start over financially without bankruptcy, and we can help reduce their unsecured debts up to 80%. The main thing that we help clients with is structuring a consumer proposal so it is done on their terms, not the most favorable terms for the creditors. A consumer proposal is an interest-free payment plan to pay back a portion of the client's debt owed. An example of a client I had recently, she had about $58,000 worth of debt, was paying approximately $1,000 a month just to service the interest for those debts.
Jeez.
Yeah, I was able to get her debts down to $15,000 interest-free with a payment of $250 a month for 60 months. So it really helps clients free up their money to start to save or create a plan. So the great thing about a consumer proposal is it does create a plan. Now they can work on a budget, start to save and plan for retirement or save for a down payment. All of these things that felt like they were out of reach all of a sudden become a reality because they are no longer drowning in debt. After the proposal is in place, then we help clients rebuild their credit. This is a really important step in what we do. 4 Pillars is very big on educating our clients so that they learn and become confident when it comes to their finances. Mm-hmm. So the big difference between us and a bank is they provide consolidation loans in order to have the client pay out debts and have one payment generally at a reduced interest rate. However, it's still all of the debt originally owed. It still carries interest and the payment may still be unaffordable for the client. So typically clients already facing challenges paying the debt don't qualify, and often it isn't a long-term solution for clients, but if it's more of a quick fix.
Yeah, I see that. We have clients that come in looking to restructure their mortgage for that same purpose, you know, this mounting debt, but they don't necessarily qualify. Or they've been to the bank and already done that once or twice with consolidation loans, but some of the banks as well will only consolidate their own debts and not take on other creditors' debt. We've seen that as well.
Yeah, we see that all the time too. Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. So it's kind of the same conversation then about, you know, coming to seek help for credit restructuring with you over the bank, same way as coming to see a mortgage broker over the bank, is that we do work for the client, not for the creditor.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we're definitely like a third party who brings the two together, right? And just the best interest of the client.
So any other reasons for looking to you as opposed to the bank to consolidate debts?
Yeah, so again, I really do believe that 4 Pillars is a true fresh start for the clients. We're putting a plan in place for the client to be debt-free after 5 years and significantly lower the client's monthly payment, free up that cash flow to bring their long-term financial goals closer. A consolidation loan is a lot more difficult to get these days, as a lot of people have too much debt. Banks don't feel comfortable lending unless they pay off some of the debts outside of the loan first. It can be a great option for clients with low debt and high income, but we do typically see people who tried the loan route and ultimately end up with just more debt. The visas that they paid off with the loan are used once again. The cycle begins all over, as there's no change in spending habits and no education provided on how to effectively manage the budget. So 4 Pillars is really a chance for the clients to become educated on how to use that credit and how to avoid getting into similar situations again. So I feel like we're giving the power back to the consumer and away from the banks through all of the knowledge that we're giving our clients. And we actually are now working with some forward-thinking banks that send us their clients that actually don't qualify for consolidation loans. They recognize our service as a long-term solution for clients. So it's really good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that education piece, and the point of doing the podcast today is to educate our listeners.
Yeah.
And that's paramount. You know, the consolidation is really only step 1. Now let's educate how we can continue to not get into this position going forward.
Don't ever do it again.
So for my listeners, you know, potential mortgage clients, existing mortgage clients, will working with you prevent them from getting a mortgage or, you know, impact their existing mortgage or their renewal?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. And we get a lot of clients who are hesitant about restructuring because of that. So if a client has a home already and isn't due for renewal for a few years, there won't be any issues at all. We typically suggest that clients stay with the same bank if the renewal is coming up sooner. That way the lender won't pull their credit bureau while we're in the credit rebuilding stage, so it won't have any impact. As for getting a new mortgage, so it comes down to credit worthiness, which we were kind of talking about earlier. A lot of people who want to purchase a home either don't have enough down payment because they have been servicing their debts and unable to save, or they have too much debt already, so the banks won't lend more money to them. As long as the consumer proposal is paid out in full and they've completed it, they are able to reapply for a mortgage with no implications. In fact, as their total debt service ratio is much lower and they've freed up cash flow to save for a down payment, home ownership is actually often brought closer versus pushed away. So we have products also available to 4 Pillars exclusively through our partnership with the Phoenix Fund to help clients who have home ownership as a goal to help pay off their proposal sooner. It's really important for us to understand the long-term goals of our clients when we're creating a strategy to deal with their debt. So with the right plan, debt is just a short-term problem and should not have a long-lasting negative implication.
One of the well-known brokers in our industry wrote an article the other day about his visa statement, and it showed a balance of about $14,000, which says he pays off in full every month, but it actually indicated on his statement that if he was to only make the minimum balance, it would take him 108 years to pay off a $14,000 balance.
Yes.
So it highlights the need for education around consolidating this type of debt, visa, lines of credit, revolving credit that interest compounds monthly.
Yes.
As opposed to worrying about mortgage debt necessarily.
Yes.
You know, there are arrears in mortgage debt as well, but not the same extent as in Visa cards. So.
Yeah, it's really good that the banks started to actually do that, because I think it does bring awareness, but not a lot of people read their statements.
No.
Not a lot of people look and take a look, and it is shocking to see if they're just servicing the interest, how long it will take to pay off the debt.
So another question, you know, there's always that question of cost. So if I'm receiving a service, there's got to be a cost.
Yes. So we definitely are a fee-based service. We are the largest company that solely works for the client and not for the creditors. So we don't get funded by the creditors or get paid based on the amount the client pays back to the creditors, like many of the other firms in the debt industry. So what this does is it allows us to save the client significantly more and truly find the best option for their unique situations without having that conflict of who we're working for. So our fees include the strategy to deal with the debt, budgeting, credit rebuilding, which means we're working for our clients for 18 to 24 months at least. We do provide a free consultation to review all of the options available to our clients, which allows for them to make an educated decision on how to deal with unsecured debts that they have and what really makes the most sense for them and their family moving forward.
Do you have any other free tools and resources through your website that a client can look at and read through?
We have so many articles on our website. Every consultant that works for Four Pillars writes articles, and there's again, there's that ask a question that you can click on. And so if somebody doesn't know, we always say, go onto the website, read some articles. If there's any other questions that they have, it's great to just click on that ask a question link, and one of the consultants will reach out to them right away. And yeah, there's some great information out there on the website for sure.
So how do people find you?
Well, you can go onto our website. So it's www.4, it's the number 4, pillars.ca. And they can call as well.
Okay.
604-612-9211. And I'd be happy to chat with anybody about their current situation.
I think the biggest thing for the listeners today to know is that just make the call.
Totally.
You don't have to know what to ask, what to say, other than, I know I have a mounting debt issue. How do I start? Where do I start? And that is why you were there.
Yeah. And if our services aren't the best option or it doesn't make sense for them, we'll always try to refer them to somebody else and find another solution for them. We never just shut the door. And we always want to try to make sure we do right by the client.
Have you had any of your past clients come back and say, 3 years ago you did this with us and, we're in this better position and our life has been turned around?
Yeah, it's actually amazing. Even in the first free consultation that we do, so the client comes in, they don't want to see us. Nobody wants to sit in front of somebody to talk about their debt. It's embarrassing, they're ashamed. But it's amazing, even after that first hour, how you can see the sense of relief on them. It's pretty incredible. And also, like when we're doing the credit rebuilding, we talk a lot about, can you believe that you had $58,000 worth of debt and now you have $15,000? It's really nice to be able to see and work with the people and that you can just see their lives changing, which is great.
And not getting those text messages from creditors or collection agencies harassing them.
They can open their mail again.
Yes, and not avoid it and actually get the mail they're looking to receive. So
exactly.
Jennifer, is there anything else that we should know about yourself or Four Pillars?
Again, I think it's just really important for people to feel comfortable to reach out about your debt. Don't be ashamed. Everybody's in the same situation. Just make the call and at least find out what your options are so that you can start to feel comfortable about moving forward.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for taking the time to be here today.
Thank you so much.
And I hope we've encouraged at least one of our listeners who is struggling with mounting debt to reach out.
Yeah.
And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to Jennifer. We'll have all the links in the Facebook and website post on www.ilovevancouverrealestate.ca. So thank you again for taking the time to be with us today, and thank you to all of our listeners, and we hope to have you back next time.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thank you.